written or spoken, Teresa strives to encourage and inspire meaningful conversations that make a difference. Here's the host of Conversations That Make a Difference, Teresa Velardi.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Conversations That Make a Difference. I'm excited today to have Gloria Sloan with me. I'm going to introduce her in just a minute, but first I want to let you know that we are live the first and third Tuesday of the month at 5 p.m. And you can listen to Conversations That Make a Difference at your leisure on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. The shows will play at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. every Tuesday with, once again, live shows on the first and third Tuesday. We like to start with a prayer, so let's do that. Let's say the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And it is by God's grace that we are fabulous, blessed, and highly favored, living in our greatness, using our gifts and talents, with making a difference in the lives of others with passion and purpose, and all of God's great universe is conspiring in our favor. And together, we gratefully say, Amen.
Amen.
So, Gloria is no stranger to Conversations That Make a Difference. We've had her here several times before, and I just want to let you know who she is. So I'm going to read her bio so I don't leave anything out. So Gloria is CEO of Personal Dynamics Incorporated. She's an author, a certified life coach, speaker, and strategist with 40 years of business management experience and workforce development training and hospitality procurement. Diverse and dynamic, Gloria empowers, educates, and ignites people to elevate personal development. She works with organizations, groups, and individuals to amplify professional growth. She demonstrates and mentors passionately a belief that self-directed life skills and learning supports a solid foundation for heightened performance, empowerment, and transformation. I totally agree. Gloria offers solutions that motivate greatness from her insights and applied knowledge. She shares profound wisdom through a wonderful sense of expression, revealing practical ways to expanding your mindset, and the inspiration and essence of her published work focuses on personal growth and fulfillment. She's the author of 2 books, Life Skills for the Journey, Identify Essential Life Skills That Matter with 5 Successful Approaches and Abundant Faith, Secrets to Plenty Traveling on Life's Journey. She's the executive contributor for Brains Magazine, a global digital publication covering business, lifestyles, mindset, sustainability, and leadership topics. Her latest book, Life Skills for the Journey, was selected as a finalist for the 2023 Book Excellence Award. So what does she do? She gets a second edition coming out. That's what Gloria does. Additionally, Gloria has been invited as a keynote speaker to organizations across the states, including Belmont Historical Society, North Carolina, Delta Kappa Gamma, and Lions Share Federal Credit Union. Now, Gloria is in the North Carolina area, and we welcome her today once again to Conversations That Make a Difference. Hello, my friend. How are you?
Hello, I am fine. It's so good to see you again.
So good to see you as well. You've got so much going on. So let's start with the first question I want to ask you. What in the world made you decide that you wanted to create a second edition of Life Skills for the Journey?
Well, that's a very good question because, sometimes the spirit hits you, and I am an obedient child. So when the spirit hit me, when I thought, what is my purpose here on this earth? What am I doing? What legacy do I want to leave? And how can I fulfill that space of wherever I am, what I'm supposed to do? Mm-hmm. And the answer came up was, you've got some more that you can write about with life skills for the journey, because that first book took people to one place.
Mhm.
But the whole idea of doing a second edition is to give it a boost. We're
Mhm.
in a new space and a new time than when I wrote that book, and it's
Yeah.
time to have an upgrade, if I can use it like that, to show people that there's more, and that's just kind of what put me on the verge of it. And I said, well, if I am to give more of myself and what I'm doing, then why not just let it be a second edition instead of a whole new book to a whole stream of things. There was so much that I could take out of the chapters within that book and do a second edition.
Right, right. And life is always changing. We are always growing. We have the world is changing. It's a much different place now than it was several years ago. So I totally understand, that you would want to have a second edition, especially in these times. I really believe that people need guidance, and you are an incredible coach. And I know that this also has a workbook that's coming with it too. So the application process for this second journey is much more. I don't like to use the word intense because I don't want to scare anybody, but it's more fully applicable with the workbook being a partner to the second edition. Would you agree? And you want to give us a little bit of insight about that?
Yes, absolutely. I agree. And I'm so excited about the companion workbook that's going to go along with it, because it is going to give the reader more engagement into what I have written and what I'm writing about. And it's going to allow them to be able to be, presently with it in each chapter. And I love that, because a workbook is it's going to give them the opportunity to answer questions, to feel it. Any kind of workbook, they feel like a student in a sense, but it's their own personal journey that they get to address with each chapter in the workbook. So it's going to be a great guide. It's really just a guide to help them to get more, not say get more out of the book, but to be able to feel the presence of each chapter and the details of what it is that I am presenting to them.
Right. So you have, I'm going to say, a threefold process here. You are a speaker. You teach this work in front of groups of people, correct?
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
And they get to take it home with them by virtue of the book itself, right?
Exactly.
And then they get to have the application of the knowledge that they glean from both your onstage presentation and your written presentation of the information in much greater depth than you could ever do in a 45-minute or an hour-long presentation. And now they get to take that and they get to apply it directly to their life, to their business, to their cause, whatever that may be, by having the workbook along with it.
Exactly. That is definitely correct. And again, I hadn't thought about it until you put it in the perspective in terms of when I'm speaking, because most of the time now when I do speak, I'm speaking from the if not the book, totally from a chapter or some part of the book. I got an invitation not long ago to come and talk about storytelling or telling your story. And then I thought, hey, well, I've been writing about that. So for me to be able to now take that and say, I have something for you in the workbook in the second edition, that not only can I talk about telling a story and telling a story about yourself, I can give you a little more to get out of it by what I put in the workbook. So you're correct. When I'm talking to people, now it's going to give me more of what I'm talking to them about to refer them to the book.
Right. And they can get greater depth and greater meaning from
Exactly.
everything that you talk about through the actual application of the principles and the information that you share. So I have in front of me, I've got the table of contents of the book.
Oh, okay. You're one step above. Okay. You got the table of contents.
I have
Okay.
a table of contents that gives a little glimpse into the second edition, and also a little glimpse into the application of it through the uh, through the workbook. But so one of the things that you said, and as I was introducing you, was that you had to ask yourself why you were here, your purpose. What did you come up with as to what your purpose actually is here? Did you get an answer as to what that is?
My purpose
Your
for doing this,
legacy? Yeah.
my
Yeah.
purpose. What is my
Yeah.
purpose?
Your work.
Well, yeah, we have to define our purpose with things that we do in life. And as an author, as a writer, as a coach, as all the things that I am, I try to identify being purposeful in what I'm doing. So I have thought about it quite a bit. Trust me, I have thought about my purpose in doing this, and it is because I feel that there's more that I can give and share in terms of being a little more specific in areas where people can elevate, upgrade, and become a better version of themselves. That's my whole purpose. I want to be able to give people more by like a map or a blueprint or a guide in terms of what I know helps them and what I know works based on knowledge, research, wisdom, and all of the above.
Right. Yeah, well said. And elevate, upgrade, and become a better version of who they are. And I think we all look to do that in our day to day. And sometimes we need guidance. And I think that this book, Life Skills for the Journey, it says it. This is the journey we are on, each one of us individually. And I think that you have the first chapter in itself says, developing your future self. And living is one of life's best teachers. What are some of the lessons that you have learned, Gloria, in your journey thus far that have been, what are some of the experiences, maybe one of the experiences that you have had that has been one of your, to use your words, best teachers so far?
Learning to be patient and learning to believe in my faith and what I believe in. Being faithful and learning can be so parallel because living is one of life's best teachers. And in order to learn, you do have to pay attention and you have to be intentional daily with how you're living and in a thought-provoking kind of manner. So I have learned that best lesson from myself. I learned, Teresa, how to sit still. I learned how to meditate more effectively, and I learned how to pray more faithfully.
Yeah. And so important. And I think, that's one of the biggest things, being intentional with your faith and with what you have, with the gifts you have been given to use during this journey. And I know you subscribe to that as well as I do. So I think that's actually a really good answer to that question. So determine your best skills. How did you come to the place where you said, all right, I know this, and this, and I'm going to get up in front of a group of people and I'm going to talk about it? How did you come to that place?
Okay, well, first, let me just tell you, I am talking about and writing about what I know because I am a product of what I'm writing. And when I say determine your best skills, I give those illustrations, actually, some of them in the first edition of the book, because when I say determine your best skills, you have to look at what you know that has been proven to be good at what you do. And I give analogies and I give ways in the book that you determine that. as to what are you good at. And
That's
I know that that is what I did for Gloria many, many years ago. We try different things. We wear different hats. We have different skills. And that's where the whole thing about life skills for the journey. There are a number of them. There are some that are given, some that we learn. And, I break that down into what's learned, what's knowledge. And at some point, you determine what it is that you're good at. What's your best skill?
Yeah.
And all of us can do that. We just have to research it. And what would you do? Some people have hobbies, okay? And some people turn hobbies into money-making ventures. But it doesn't necessarily mean that they're very good at that hobby. They may have a skill that they're sitting on totally. And I try to help people to look at the many different things that they can be. Even if you do have a great hobby of doing something, there can be absolutely something else that you're skilled at.
Right, absolutely. And I think that eventually we all fall into a place of, oh, this comes easy to me. I really like what I'm doing. And this must be what I'm supposed to do, because I don't believe that God would give us something to do that we were totally uncomfortable with. There may be a little bit of discomfort getting started in something, because that goes with the territory. But the bottom line is that I think that we have each been given a purpose and a plan, and we have to live it out. So I think that the title for your book is absolutely perfect. Life Skills for the Journey. I love it.
Thank you.
So you talk a lot about personal development, and what is first describe what personal development is and how coaching connects with that, and how people can really glean a lot of information about themselves and about their own skill set and all of the different things that come into, let's say, a coaching environment.
Personal development, it is personal. And I say that because it becomes your personal journey in terms of what all you put into it. And again, in writing about personal development, and I hope I'm addressing the question, your question is kind of like twofold. I hope I'm going to give you what you want to know is you have to believe in personal development. Unfortunately, some people believe that they go here, they get whatever type of education or whatever they need, and they apply it, and they feel completely developed with where they are in their space. And that's all well and good. But when you take personal development, it is exactly what it says. You want to grow, you want to upgrade, you want to elevate into a higher version of yourself. So therefore, it is a personal development process.
Right.
And that's how you have to identify it. But, the thing is that you have to want it. It's not so much that you need it, but you have to want to elevate and upgrade your life into a better place, or a space where you are having some fulfillment.
Right.
And that's the key word, some fulfillment.
Yeah.
It's got to bring about fulfillment in life for you, in order for you to recognize that you are actually in a transformative state of a personal development.
Yeah. You said a lot there. The transformative state, you can't get. So a lot of people think, oh, I'll do this, and this, and then this is what's going to happen. Yes. But I think that to get to a place where you're truly transformed, and a place where you can feel fulfilled, that I think we have to go deeper than surface level. And that's where coaching comes in, right, Gloria?
It does. And again, that was the part of it from when I decided that I knew that there was something inside of me that I wanted to coach individuals, people, to do what I was talking about. In order to do that, to write about it, I had to be able to do it. And so to become a certified life coach, you learn the different, it's like a whole completely different stage of areas that you take people to in the coaching process. So I had to learn how to do that. And then it was a little more easier for me to write about it because I knew what I was talking about, and then I was practicing it. When you are practicing something and you realize and you see the greatness that comes from your practice, it makes it a lot easier to write about it.
Yeah, I agree. And it makes it a lot easier for you to be able to, after you have practice, to engage in conversations with people so that they can get the best and the most fulfillment out of the coaching relationship. And I know that you're a pro, and I know that you have studied with one of the best. You want to disclose who that is?
But what I'm saying is it was helpful for me as well, because I'm learning, regardless of what age, and I even talk about this, no matter what age, there's still room to grow and to learn. And every individual, every person that I coach, I am also learning, even through the process myself, because you hear many, many different stories of why people are doing this or doing that. But, when you put yourself into it, you grow as well.
Right.
Or at least I did. Right. And I still do.
And I think there's something great to be said about that, because many of the times, and I've heard the best coaches in the world say, sometimes we teach what we most need to learn, right?
Exactly.
So,
exactly. That is exactly the process. We're teaching what we need to learn, and it's a lesson within the whole process of it, and it's just so rewarding. And for me, that is fulfillment.
Yes.
And when I can say that a person comes back to me and in a positive manner and say, I truly gained from this. This is where I am now. Then, it's a celebrated experience. It really is.
Yeah, for both people, for both of you. And it's an awesome thing. And with that being said, we have to go to our first break. So when we come back, we're going to be talking with Gloria a little bit more about her Life Skills for the Journey, 2nd edition, and the workbook that's coming. So we'll be right back. Just give us a couple minutes, and we're coming right back with Gloria Sloan.
Are you one of the many people who said, someday I'll write a book, but don't know how to get started? Many wannabe authors have begun with the same question and are now published by Authentic Endeavors Publishing, a multi-imprint hybrid publishing company. Whether you're writing an autobiography, a memoir, a kingdom book, a children's book, a business book, or an anthology, we have a place for you. Visit www.AuthenticEndeavorsPublishing.com for more information or to set up a 20-minute consultation. Your title of published author is within reach. Born Able exists to highlight and normalize the humanity, worth, and abilities of infants and children born with complex medical conditions. We write, illustrate, and publish books for these children and have featured over 1,000 children throughout the world. Our videos and posts have been viewed over 100 million times on social media as we strive to showcase these amazingly abled kids and fight relentlessly for equal medical care, regardless of diagnosis. All proceeds from Born Able books go directly to the Born Able Foundation. To nominate a special kid to be featured in a Born Able book, go to www.bornable.org to learn more.
Did you know that every word you speak matters? What you say and how you say it can make or break a relationship or shift the outcome of any situation. Are your conversations making a difference? Faith in God, gratitude, authenticity, and giving are Teresa Velardi's heart. It's in this spirit that she's focused on making a difference in the lives she's blessed to touch. Conversations That Make a Difference is now on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network every Tuesday at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time, with live call-in shows every first and third Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
And we're back with Gloria Sloan. And we're discussing her book, her upcoming book, the next edition, the second edition to Life Skills for the Journey. And I'm excited to cover a couple more topics that are going to be addressed in that book. Gloria, focus. Let's talk about focus. This world is so distracting. I don't know about you, but I have to take time in the morning and I have to focus on, quiet. I need quiet time in the morning. And if I don't have that quiet time, and if I'm not journaling, and if I'm not doing the things that I know feed my spirit, feed my soul, I can get lost. I can spend hours on the computer going down rabbit holes of absolute garbage and nothing. What are some of the things you talk about the power of focus and commitment to personal development in your book? Let's talk about focus more than anything.
Well, I know you're really, I was trying to figure out where, I know that's one of the chapters when I talk about the power of focus and the commitment to personal development, because when you want to grow, when you want to elevate, when you want to become a better version of yourself, you have to focus on that. And there's a power within that gives you the alignment with your values to be able to focus. Mm-hmm. And I agree. Sometimes we get off track. We don't really, how in the world can we focus to do this, to do that? Because focus, again, you have to pay attention to where you are in life. And if you really want something, you'll have to look at focusing what you need to do to get it or to be there.
Right.
If you can follow me. So when I talk about the power of focus, it's really a power or a skill that we have that we don't exercise unless we absolutely have to.
Right.
Some people don't focus on anything. How many times when you were trying to teach or tell somebody else something, you would tell them, you got to focus on what you're doing. You got to think about what you're doing, and it was so easy to say that to somebody. But then when you turn around and look at yourself, am I focusing really on what I need to do? I mean, we admit that sometimes it gets a little bit, hairy, where we look at, what am I supposed to be doing? You go in one room, you come out another. And, we have to take it one step at a time, one day at a time. And sometimes we have to take it at one skill level at a time. Mm-hmm. To sit and be still, take a deep breath, mm-hmm. Be calm, be in a good mindset. Focusing has a lot to do with mindfulness. Mm-hmm. And when you are in a good place with your mind, it's just a lot easier to focus. And you put aside all of the distractions. Mm-hmm. You move the distractions. And we owe it to ourselves to give our body, mind, and soul that space. We deserve the space necessary to focus. Right. Because it's important in life to do that. So once we practice it, focusing, it comes as a practice. And once you start practicing that necessary focus that is needed at the period in the time, then you can start bringing in the goodness of, what do I need to apply to my personal development state? What is it? What do I need to read? Where do I need to go? Who do I need to talk to? Mm-hmm. Then you start figuring out and finding the things that are going to help you. Right. Once you have had the time to focus on where you are and where you want to go.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And that was so powerful. The way that you slowed it down and take a breath, and focusing is mindfulness. I totally get it. And the world is like look at this, look at that. Do you believe this? Do you believe that? And we have to, in order to just live day to day with a sound mind, you have to slow down and you have to focus on what it is that is important to you for your journey, for your personal journey. How focus, values, and skills. I want to talk about all three of those. We just touched on focus. Let's talk on values. A lot of people don't really know what personal values are. Like they just don't know what they stand for. They don't know how they operate. People are just, I don't know if you've experienced this. I'm sure you have, but I'm going to speak for myself because I don't want to put words in your mouth. There are people in my life who just they are just like they're walking around in circles. They don't know where they're going. They don't know what they're doing. They're just following the leader over here one day, the leader over there the other day, and the next thing you know, they're chasing their tail. And they just don't. They can't. Focus is part of it, right? But then when they make a decision, they want to do such and such, but they don't bring necessarily their personal values into the work that they're doing. So it's just work. There's no mindset about it. There's nothing invested in it. And they just go through the motions. Talk about bringing your values into your life and your work so that you can literally purposefully do what is before you to do.
Yeah, well, you first have to define what your true values are and whether they're core values. And in the book, I do take the reader back to in the beginning of when they were children. And growing up, there were certain values that parenting put in front of you. There were just certain things you did or you did not do, and you learn to associate them with values growing up. There's just some things you just did not do because you were told that you don't do. Then there's some things that you could do that was of goodwill and good nature. And from that childhood upbringing, you developed values, core values, being kind, being respectful, saying yes, sir, no, ma'am, thank you, at various stages in your life. Now, as you got older, some of those values you took with you because they were embedded in you. Mm-hmm. But then when you become an adult, you're able to, hey, I'm out of here now. I can do and say what I want to do. And then that's when all values just, they just go up. And that's when you encounter trying to say, oh, who do I follow? Who do I listen to? And you lose sight of the core values that you grew up with. If you were taught to be kind, to be courteous, to be thoughtful of other people, if you were taught those good values, mm-hmm. you keep them. But when you become an adult, you still have to work hard at maintaining them to keep you in a respectable space. Mm-hmm. Because you want to be respected, and you really grew up respecting others, or for the most part, that's what you were taught. If you were taught goodness in your household. So when I talk about values will carry you through your growth and your growth development if right. They're all in a good place. Right. You have to look at those core values. If you're on a job and you're not getting along with a coworker, those values kick in. What do I do? How do I address this? If you're a business person and you want to be honest about the way you do business, mm-hmm. And you want to present yourself as a good business person, those values are going to kick in. Right. And then you have to determine if you are putting your best values forward in terms of how you are presenting yourself in your own personal growth.
Right. So, and some people don't know how to even define values. You talked about kindness and respect for other people. And there's mm-hmm. also things like honesty, integrity, right. Authenticity, all of these things that, hey, listen, I grew up in a household where if I wasn't kind, if I wasn't courteous, I paid the price for being disrespectful or whatever. And I think it's important for people to understand that, even though they may not be important to other people, they're part of who you are. And if you can put your head on the pillow and you at night and you've gone through a day and being of value to other people through your core values, then it was a good day. If you haven't, I think you have some questions to answer.
Yeah, and you can tell, for the most part, you can tell people who have good values. The values are something that you can notice right off. You can talk to a person 2 or 3 minutes and pick up on whether or not they have any values at all about themselves and where they are in the conversation. At least I can, because you know that you can identify a person. You ever talk to a person, Teresa, and you're in a conversation with them, and you really honestly, they speak so easy and so calm. You feel their soul almost. I mean, there's some people you can talk to and they just win you over in the first breath. And then there's some people on the other hand, they can come at you like, oh boy, and you can't like wait to get off the phone with them, or you cannot wait for the luncheon to end. It just depends on how people are presenting themselves with you. But they bring those values to the table, to the meetings, to the boardroom, those so whatever they're made up of, they bring that to the table.
Right. And some of them bring nice what varnish, and other people bring sandpaper.
Exactly. But the genuine people who are genuine and who have practiced how to put their best values forward. I still say that sometimes for some people it comes as a practice, because there's some people tell you they grew up in rough households and they didn't have, it was like, hey, everybody for themselves. And when they got out of that house, they really didn't always have what they needed. And over a period of time, they had to develop that. And those are people who do get mentoring, they get coaching, they go to therapists, because so much was lost in the environments that they do know that they did not have the core values needed to really apply any kind of life skills in life. And that's what I have found out from a coaching standpoint.
Yeah, and you bring a lot of people through the process of actually finding out who they are, who they are and how they can best show up in the world through your books and your coaching and your speaking. And you're a great asset to this world, Gloria. Great asset to this world. So,
thank you, Teresa.
You're welcome. So let's see here. So the demand for life skills, of course, people have different skill sets. Everybody has something that they can bring to the table, so to speak, right? And one of the things that I think we tend to gloss over, and we just take for granted who we think we are, but we really don't get to know ourselves. You have a chapter in this book called Get to Know Yourself Better. Let's talk about maybe some things that you can offer to people that they might find within the pages of the book, and then ultimately glean a little bit more about themselves in the workbook. Getting to know yourself better. What are some things that people can do in order to be able to go through that process?
Well, the first thing that I can say that people can do is what I call a self-evaluation.
Okay.
A self-evaluation, and you can write the things down about yourself that you like, write things about yourself that you don't like. And there's a process that I talk about even in the book in terms of learning the self-evaluation process to determine who you think you are and then who you know you are. Because the more you know about yourself, you can live out your personal growth best once you know who you are. And you are, you have to learn to be your best friend. You have to learn to really live with yourself. You are you. And until you can evaluate who you are by asking your own self the questions that rather than somebody else ask who you are, you ask who you are. Do a self-evaluation and then look at yourself in the mirror. When you can look at yourself in the mirror and straight ahead and say, this is who I am, not who you want to be. This is who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to be something rather than who you see in that mirror, then that's when you start looking at, but what do I need to do to get there? But you have to learn who you are from a personal standpoint, what you represent, what do you believe in, what do you love, and what are things you don't know that you want to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And who do you really want to share your life with? Are you with that individual or that person? Or do you want to feel like you need to share your life with them? Some people tell you that they like being, living alone, I think each individual has their own lifestyle cut out for them, but you have to learn to live with yourself and love yourself and know you as you are. And I give illustrations to that in the book. It's very important that we live ourselves, because I'm going to tell you one other point that I've been able to have people on the show, and we've talked about it, and it's becoming more focus driven now, the imposter syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
People are living with that, and it's beginning that they're searching and trying to find a way how to address it. But imposter syndrome is huge now. And that's why I say, more than ever, get to know yourself.
Exactly. And so when we come back, I want you to define imposter syndrome for people, because they may not know what it is. And we have to go to our next break. But I think you bring up an extremely good point. So let's go there when we come back. We'll be right back with Gloria Sloan and more about Life Skills for the Journey, the second edition. We'll be right back.
Do you have an uplifting personal story to share? The Daily Gift Book series began with a daily gift of gratitude and a daily gift of hope, both available on Amazon. We're looking for people like you to share a story in our continuing series. Kindness, peace, inspiration, and generosity are just a few of the upcoming topics in the Daily Gift Book series. Your stories matter, and they make a difference. Visit www.dailygiftbookseries.com to find out more on how to submit your story for one of the upcoming titles.
With the hustle and bustle of today's world, how often do you practice gratitude? How can you make it a habit? Gratitude is more than putting a smile on your face and being thankful for the roof over your head. It's expanding your perception and finding gratitude for every opportunity and every challenge. Gratitude is a feeling of connection to things higher than yourself, to God, and to others. We focus on light, positivity, and connections. When we join our grateful hearts together, the power of community attracts more people and even more to be grateful for while making a difference. A grateful heart is infectious. Share it. Join our Grateful Hearts community on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/The Grateful Hearts Community and watch your blessings blossom.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
And we're back with Gloria Sloan. We're going to talk about imposter syndrome in just a second, but I want to give a little bit of voice to the Daily Gift Book series. And Gloria is a part of this series. She is written in each one of these books. First one being A Daily Gift of Gratitude. The next one being A Daily Gift of Hope. And then we have A Daily Gift of Kindness, which was just released at the end of last year. We're now working on A Daily Gift of Peace. So if you or someone you know has a story they might want to share in the Daily Gift Book series, you can go to dailygiftbookseries.com and learn more about how you can make that happen. And join Gloria and me in the next volume of the Daily Gift Book series.
Absolutely.
So, I'm just so grateful that you have come on board this journey with me on that series, because I think that this actually, what you put in these books actually complements everything that you teach. So I believe that when you learn how to when we learn how to write and tell our stories, which is the other thing that we're going to touch on here, is that is we show people who we are, so that we don't have to live in that imposter syndrome. So I remember a day in my life when I stood in the mirror and I really didn't recognize who I was, because there were a lot of things going on in my world. I was not with the person who was the best choice for me. I was not doing what I really wanted to do. And I looked in the mirror and I had what I call a come to Jesus moment. And I asked two questions. Who are you and why are you here?
Yeah.
So let's talk about that in relationship to imposter syndrome, which has a lot of other aspects to it besides not showing up as who you actually were created to be.
Yeah, just to give a little bit of insight into what imposter syndrome is, it's like when people are living a life, like, for a better term, a fraud. They're
Yeah.
fraudulent. They're not confident. They doubt their skills. They doubt their capabilities, and for the most part, some of it does come from some psychological background, or sometimes it's the way they were raised. It does sometimes have other components that come to it, and then to sometimes their experiences within even maybe a work environment or a relationship, that people have this imposter syndrome. And when they go out and be among other people, they put themselves in one perspective, but when they get back home and behind closed doors, it's really traumatic for them, because they're putting up a front. People see them as one sense. And until people are able to come out of that hole, so to speak, of feeling that they are living in that imposter syndrome, they don't understand and come to grips with the true value of themselves and who they are, and in terms of even getting to know themselves. And so there are people who really work hard to come out of that imposter syndrome. Of late, I've known some people, coaches, as a matter of fact, who are having challenges. They're offering challenges and master classes for people who feel that they want to take on this challenge, whether it's for 30 days or 6 weeks or however length of time, through practices to help them to address the imposter syndrome, and ways that you can be successful in getting past it. But sometimes it does require some work, because when you are presenting one thing and in your heart and your mind, that is really not who I am. It can take away what I've learned from the good balance of skills. It has a lot to do with recognizing the level of the skill level that you present in different ways.
Absolutely. And as you were talking, we talk about imposter syndrome. I go to, this is silly, I go to Clark Kent and Superman. But that's but the easiest way for me to say why is because I think that we all have a superpower, and that we need to really step into what that superpower is. And in doing so, it takes your story to a whole different level, right? So we're going to talk about, I want to segue into telling your story, because it's my opinion. You tell me how important this is, and whether this is something that you teach as well. And I know it probably is. We all go through something. We all go through something that has challenged us, something that has broken, made us feel like we were broken, something that has given us the opportunity to really dig deep into a lot of things that we talked about today, finding out who you are, determining your best skills, what your values are and how you can utilize them. And once we get through that, I believe it's my belief that if you come through it, it's our responsibility to share it, so somebody else who is possibly living in the same circumstances and situations can have hope that they too can get through that as well. So how important, that being said, how important is telling your story?
It is very important to your story, because when you realize that you can express who you are in a storytelling kind of way, um, you're getting your message across, you're getting out there. And when people can see the genuine person that you are by telling your story, acceptance grows in, and they become a person that can see you for really who you are. You're telling your story, and the whole point is that you want other people to see how you got to where you are through your storytelling process. And the whole point of telling your story is so that you can make it beneficial and helpful to someone else, so that you can put yourself into a room where people will listen to you, and to be able to be, if it's on a great stage, whatever it is that you feel you need to export that story out. But the whole point is it's going to leave a message with someone that's going to help them on their journey.
I totally agree. I totally agree. And that's why I think, that's why I think things like your book, your teachings, your workbook, the workbook is merely the application of the principles that you learn in the book, and you learn from listening to Gloria on stage when she's teaching a class or whatever. I believe that all of this stuff works together for the good, right? And even the daily gift series, the values that are in there, the kindness, the hope, the gratitude, the peace. We all need these things in our lives, and sometimes we just don't get it. And somebody else having come through it and have told their story, I think we can hold on to that and go further in our own lives based on the fact that someone else did it before you. So
that's exactly right.
Yeah. And I think that's what, your coaching and your speaking and your books. I'm going to see if I can put up a copy of your book and show everybody what your book looks like. And so you can.
The second edition?
Yeah.
Do you have a copy? Can you pull it up?
No, yes, I'm looking, I'm just seeing here how I can present it, an image file.
Yeah, do you have a copy of the workbook too? Please tell me yes.
I do, but how I'm going to get it on the screen is another question. I've never had to do this before, but anyway, I know that this book has a beautiful picture of Gloria. Both of them do a beautiful picture of Gloria on the front cover. And to learn more about her, go to, what's your website, Gloria?
GloriaSloan.com.
Right. Awesome.
GloriaSloan.com.
Yeah. And you've also ventured into the podcast world, right? So talk about your show a little bit.
Yes. Next week, I'm celebrating 1 year. Next week, I am celebrating 1 year of the Gloria Show. And you talk about a blessing, and talking about how that has helped me, as well as having all the numerous guests that I've had. I am so excited about celebrating 1 year. And for me, that's a milestone. I mean, I know you've been doing it for a while, and so you're a true pro at it, because it shows that you're doing good, because people continue to come and listen and download and want to see. And I've been following you and tracking you, so just being on your show, I feel that presence with you. So I congratulate you and applaud you for your podcast, because it is making a difference in the conversations that you have with people. And again, just the Gloria Show with the personal development boost that I give in the show. I am just so grateful to have been able to do this for a whole year. I can't believe it with you, with myself.
I can't believe it's been a year already.
I know, because you were there in the beginning, and I'm like, oh my goodness, can you believe, and I thought, I'm going to do this for 6 months, and then, and hey, before I knew it, I'm going for another 6 months. I mean, and it's all because, again, you want to my purpose. It's if I am leaving something with someone of the audience on that show that tells me that they are watching, they're listening, they're downloading, I'm living my purpose. I'm doing some good. And that's what I want to do.
Yeah, you're making a difference. And that's one of the reasons why, I invite you here because this is conversations that make a difference. Gloria Show is also having conversations that make a difference, because together, individually and together, we're doing whatever we can in order for people to up-level their lives and make a difference in one way or another, whatever that is. And everybody will take something different away from this conversation and the ones that follow. And just so that everybody knows who's listening, I'm actually going to celebrate with Gloria on her show next week. I will be there with her.
Yes, I know. I can't wait. It's going to be exciting. I'm going to be so glad to have you.
Yeah, and I'm going to be so grateful to be there. It's just, and the thing about this too, as podcasters and people that we meet along the way and the journey that of us doing what we do in this thing called life, we get to meet people who we connect with, like this.
That's true.
And then we get the opportunity to build relationships and get on board a certain cause that maybe we're helping people with. I've had people on my show that have talked about not just the things that we do here with Gloria to live a better life and to live our best lives and have the skills for the journey, so to speak. I think your book is titled perfectly. Life Skills for the Journey, 2nd edition. There's so much in this book. I know because I'm helping Gloria put the workbook together and out into the world.
She's going to publish it. She's going to publish the workbook. Yes.
And I am excited to be part of this journey with you and all that comes in the future. And I'm so grateful that you have been part of the Daily Gift Book series, and that you continue to be, because you're a skilled writer. You get your point across. People can relate to what you write, and it's the same way whether we're talking about a 250 word or 300 word in a daily gift book, or we're talking about the life skills for the journey, where there's a lot of information and a lot of encouragement for you to live your best life possible. We only get one go round, right, Gloria?
That's it. So you may as well, make that journey worthwhile. Teresa, I think that's so wonderful. You are such a good person, because you put a lot into your writings and everything that you present. So it's like, to just be in partnership with you, I am so honored. I am just so very honored to, some people you meet and you become a little bit better just because you just know them,
I agree with you.
And that's you. So thank you.
And I had the blessing of being able to write the foreword for your book.
Yes, that's right. I just can't wait to present it. The foreword, it's beautiful. She says exactly how she feels. And, it's going to be a great read, an easy read. And it's just going to be even better with the workbook
it is.
On this go round. I am just truly grateful to you, Teresa. Thank you. Thank you so very much for being my partner in this book writing process. Thank you. I'm
beyond blessed, Gloria, beyond blessed. Now that we have finished our mutual admiration moment here, I hate to say it, but our hour is gone.
Is it over already? Oh my goodness.
Yes. So everybody, get in touch with Gloria, gloriasloan.com. Learn more about her book and everything she's got going on. Be with her next week on Tuesday, the 13th at 2 p.m., the Gloria Show. Watch for her there. I'll be there too. So say hello to Gloria. Come populate her and celebrate her 1-year anniversary. And until then, until the next time we are together on Conversations That Make a Difference, be sure that the conversations that you're having are making a difference for you and the people in your lives. We'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Gloria.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Tune in next time for Conversations That Make a Difference with host Teresa Velardi every Tuesday at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern, with live call-in shows every first and third Tuesday on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network. Thank you for listening, and thank you to our station owner, Deborah Beauvais, working behind the scenes. Be sure to go to conversationsthatmakeadifference.com for your free gift. Make sure your conversations make a difference.